10 down, 90 to go. The mission is to build 100 courts across the continent, and they're on the way there. Let's just leave it at that. Shout out to the Giants of Africa, Masai Ujiri, and his team for this incredible gesture that they've taken upon themselves to ensure that basketball continues to develop in Nigeria and Africa. By extension, we're still talking basketball. It's not a basketball show, but there's a lot of basketball on the menu. Today is one of those things. Let's go to the unpalatable side. We talked about it on the show yesterday. D-Tigers protesting unpaid wages and allowances and overall general poor treatment from the Federation. Federation, of course, have been reacting, and this is what they have to say.
There were three issues raised by the girls. There were three issues raised by the girls. Number one, that no, not allowances. Their training grant has not been paid by the Federation. The Federation does not pay training grant. Training grant is paid by the Federal Ministry of Youth and Sports and in conjunction with the Nigerian Olympic Committee. And I can assure you, like I told you, that I'm the overseer of the team. The ministry have already held meetings with us, told us that all training grants have been paid, training grants. The second issue raised was issue of the money given by the banks. Some banks gave money, $100,000 for the men, $100,000 for the women, and then there was $130,000. Altogether, $230,000. This money was not paid to the Federation. The minister got that money part of the Adopt an Athlete initiative. So the money didn't come to the Federation. And I can speak on good authority that we have been briefed as to the efforts being made to pay those monies. The players have been asked to send their bank accounts. You know, it's not, you can't carry dollar and fly across. You have to be paid through bank accounts. Some of them have not even sent in their own bank accounts. Even up till last week, this issue also came up. When will we get these full bank accounts? So the point for the girls to say their money is, Federation didn't pay them, the money banks gave, they want to chop it, they want to do whatever, is really very, very funny. You cannot pay what you don't have. Nemo dat quod non habet. What you don't have, you cannot give. The NBBF doesn't have that money. The banks paid it to the ministry, who are the ones in charge of adopt an athlete. So the money is still intact, like the ministry said in their release. Some people say, no, they said the money is in the NBBF account. Let me clear that. Every federation has an escrow account in the Ministry of Sports. It's still the federation's account, but it is not controlled by the federation. So that is what some people mistake to say, oh, they said the money is the NBBF account. NBBF, there is no money in NBBF account. Now to the last part, which is that yes, somebody said $8,000. Yes. When they won in 2018, the president personally said, okay, my girls, for the work that you have done, I'm happy. I will give you a personal contribution from me, 1,000. The money is not that, it's the allowance from the ministry. All our allowances due to the players and officials from the ministry have been paid. What they are talking about is the money that the president said, okay, for your hard work, I will give you this. It is a promise. It's not ministry money. It's not government money. Yes, he has not done so. But what I want us to consider, these guys went to the Olympics. They didn't complain. They went to Cameroon. They didn't complain. All of a sudden, they are complaining now. Yes, they have right to complain. But why Facebook? Why social media? Social media is not an official forum of complaint. So we know what is happening. Some people are sponsoring them. We are in the heat of the NBBF elections. So run Kida down, Let us make him look bad so that they will say he is not fit to run. Do you know why? Those people sponsoring them don't even have a candidate yet. So it is a Jankara practice. It is a Jankara way of doing things.
All right, that's Colonel Sam Ahmedu, former NBBF board member, reacting to the D-Tigers' protest of unpaid wages and allowances and generally overall poor treatments from the Federation. We're just hoping all of this can be resolved as soon as possible, because the girls have said that without the monies being paid to them, they will be boycotting future camps. And we all know the World Cup qualifier starts early next year.
Let me just add this.
What do you want to add before I go to Bada?
Yeah, I know. So they should just understand, talking about the NBBF, that the set of players they are dealing with are not like the ones we have here.
They're not.
With all due respect.
Okay.
They are exposed to a different kind of environment, different kind of upbringing, different kind of ways of how things get sorted or get done. So if you are selling the Nigerian factor in quote to them, it doesn't go well. And that's why we have all of this. So we'll just wait, really. The only thing I don't want is, don't politicize this. Don't come out and tell us because the elections are coming up on the 30th. Some people are sponsoring these girls, and that's why they are protesting.
For the monies that are owed.
We understand the Nigerian factor of money and government and CBN, but hey,
all right,
just get it sorted.
Hopefully it's sorted as soon as possible. But Akitunde Johnson is ready to join us as well. So, but before we go on into the football talks, quick one on the situation between the D-Tigers and the Nigeria Basketball Federation.
Unfortunate, but I'm not surprised. The Nigerian sports space is a cesspit of some sort. All manner of nonsense carry on there, and they are paraded as the normal way. I'm listening to the insert that was played before I came on now. I was sick to the pit of my stomach, to be honest. It's unfortunate that our sport is still being run by mediocres. I'll pull no punches because we kind of like gloss over these issues, and it's the reason why we are where we are. These girls have done their bit. They're professionals, world-class professionals who are used to things being run by professionals, not professionals being led by a bunch of mediocres. And yet again, we have made a show of shame of our affairs in the side of the world. These girls have following, cutting across different audiences from around the world. And people from the international space, yet again, will look at us as, that country where they just never seem to get anything right. The girls are not proud. Yes, sadly. Unfortunately, they don't know that it's just a bunch of people who have, sworn to an oath with mediocrity. There are excellent people who are in leadership in Nigeria who, unfortunately, don't get into those positions. So you clearly find a situation where it's square pegs and round holes, and it is professionals like this who suffer the consequence of that. Nigeria keeps benefiting from where we haven't exactly sown. These girls weren't brought up here. They didn't have the facilities that made them world-class here. They didn't get the training that made them world-class here. If it was down to the structures and the systems built by these administrators here, those girls will be nowhere near being African champions. Fact. But like it is with our football, these people find their way abroad or are born abroad, and then take advantage of all the systems and the functional structures in place. And then we call them to come play for us. They, of course, because of the strong emotional attachment to the country, they come represent us, they win laurels for us. And the barest minimum that we have to do for them, we still fail at it. It's such a shame, and these guys should actually hide their faces in shame, but they have no shame, clearly. So let them carry on trying to politicize it, saying it's because of an election, but we know better. We're not fools. And they just, like Rotimi said, they should just do all of us the favor of sorting it out. Yeah,
as soon as possible. As soon as possible. That's where we're going to leave it for now. Of course, we'll continue to monitor the situation, and if there's any updates on it, you'll be the first to know on sports this morning. Let's move on with the show now. Let's talk football. Of course, we've got a football analyst extraordinary with us, Bada. And let's go to South America, where World Cup qualifiers are going down as well. So we've seen in Europe, we saw in Africa as well. Tonight is going to be the turn of Brazil. Brazil are seeking to maintain their 100% qualifying, World Cup qualifying record when they take on Uruguay. It seems Tite is definitely doing a good job since taking over the Samba boys, but they seem to be flying under the radar. I mean, they've won all of the matches in qualifying so far, 28 points. I mean, they're looking good for Qatar 2022.
Yeah, they're doing good, but they drew against Colombia goalless the last time out. So they don't have a 100% record actually, but it's something close to that. They've been incredibly consistent since Tite took over. They won the penultimate Copa America. They lost the last one in the finals to Argentina, and like you said, they've continued that impressive showing in these qualifiers, and they have I think a 6-point gap over Argentina, who beat Uruguay, the team that Brazil plays in this particular game. Obviously, these are the names that we mentioned as strong favorites to qualify for the World Cup from that zone. Uruguay, Brazil, Argentina, Colombia. So it's a big game, Brazil against Uruguay. In the last game, though, Uruguay were battered by a Lionel Messi-inspired Argentina 3-0, even though if you watch the first half of that match, it didn't look like Argentina was going to win that convincingly, because it was Uruguay that was asking all of the questions early on. Luis Suarez came close a few times, but once Messi scored from 35 yards, Argentina just bossed the game till the end. Lautaro Martinez scored as well. Rodrigo de Paul scored as well. And Uruguay just didn't have any answers. And if you look at Uruguay's position on the table, we can almost safely say that Brazil and Argentina are through. Uruguay still have a lot of work to do to qualify. So I expect that, like Colombia did, they will be looking to be defensively solid. In the post-match interview after Argentina beat Uruguay, Messi was saying that they knew that the Uruguayans were going to be very solid defensively and wait for the moments to capitalize on counterattacks. And their approach is not going to be different against Brazil in this game. They're going to put 2 banks of 4 in front of Neymar and co. And ask them to come break them down. And they would, wait for their moments and strike with the pace of the Cavani's and the ruthless finishing of Luis Suarez and, the host of other experienced, very, very top quality players that they have in that team. So it's a qualifier that anyone who loves football should be looking forward to seeing. Yep. But like you said, the Brazilians are hot favorites. They've just, sort of blitzed through this particular. At a point, they had a 9-point gap over second place Argentina before that draw against Colombia and before Argentina's win against Uruguay. But they are still favorites. And the most interesting thing that has come out in the media in the lead up to this game is Neymar's revelation that he might not play another World Cup after the one in Qatar. Yeah. So if Qatar is his last World Cup, then expect him to be looking to make all the magic that he possibly can between the qualifiers and the main tournament, because if there is any sort of gap or negative on his CV, it is that he hasn't won the FIFA World Cup. He's won the Copa. He's won the Olympic Games. He's won the UEFA Champions League, but he's just never won the FIFA World Cup. So if he says he's only playing this last one, then he's going to be looking to making it count.
All right, we'll see if Brazil can maintain their unbeaten record as in the qualifying for the FIFA World Cup in CONMEBOL. Argentina will be in action as well too. They'll be taking on Peru. I mean, these World Cup qualifiers in South America can be very, very tricky.
Oh, I mean, that is the most difficult zone to qualify from, Ty, if you ask me, because they have very strong teams, almost back to front. Yep. Even the likes of Bolivia, Peru. Bolivia, for instance, you go to the high altitude in La Paz, and it snuffs the life out of you. I remember Argentina losing a World Cup qualifier 5-0, at that venue. And on one occasion, on multiple occasions, Messi has played there and was throwing up the whole time because of how difficult the conditions are. Chile, for instance, are struggling. I think they're in 6th or 7th place. Paraguay struggling. So it's never straightforward. It's not like Europe where Belgium will beat San Marino 7-0, 8-0,
right.
Andorra will be trounced, Lithuania, all those Kazakhstan and Co. They don't exist in South America. All of the teams are strong. And it's what makes the qualifiers very competitive and very interesting to watch and follow. I particularly like following the games, even though they are played at odd hours, because of the quality on display. I think Peru, they've lost some of their talisman in recent past. I think they finished in the recent Copa America. They finished third. They were at the World Cup recently as well. But they've always produced top quality players, top quality teams. The Colo-Colos of this world. They always have,
they're a very competitive side. Yep.
Yeah, the national team that competes, and Argentina would have to be at their very best. But the thing to note is that since Argentina switched coaches, they have been on a 24-match unbeaten run themselves. And in that time, they've also won the Copa America, and they've got Messi. They've got Lautaro Martinez. They've got all of this players and a solid goalkeeper in Emi Martinez.
Right.
Now, so defensively they're solid. They're not conceding goals. They played Uruguay. They didn't concede a goal, and that's a difficult task because you're defending against Cavani, Luis Suarez, and all these superstar players that Uruguay has got. But they didn't concede because they never looked like conceding all through that game. So Argentina will win this game. Maybe Messi, again, with that goal he scored against Uruguay, has become the first South American player in history to score 80 international goals. Yeah, he'll be looking to kick on from there. But there's only one winner in this one, Tayo. Another Argentina winner.
All right, we'll see how it pans out later or early tomorrow morning. We need to go on a break now. We'll come back. We'll be telling you all about what is going on at Newcastle and the search for a new manager, even though the manager right now is still in the job. Join us again. You're welcome back to Channel Sport this morning. Newcastle United are looking for a new manager, even though Steve Bruce is still in charge. And we're hearing to sack Steve Bruce is going to cost the new owners £8 million sterling. Obviously, that's a chicken change.
Exactly. I mean, you can understand why I had to chuckle.
Yeah, but I mean, it's unfortunate, but that's the game. This is the game.
Well, I don't think it should be sacked though, because if you're going to bring in players, you have to probably bring in players in January. So why sack the manager now?
Yeah, because it's a new tenure. They want a new beginning. They want a new everything, and that's
you
why.
Want to do that while the season is on?
Yeah, why not? Anyways,
I don't know.
Yes.
Although they said they have ambitions like Man City, PSG. Yeah. That's what the lady Amanda actually come out to say.
Yep.
So let's expect to see a new Newcastle maybe from next year. Throwing all the monies around.
Of course.
Leave Bruce till you guys want to
I
sign
see,
big players.
I see what you're saying in terms of what is the hurry, right?
Exactly.
Perhaps they're trying to make sure that they don't get relegated.
If you bring a new manager now with this sort of players, and then you try to cheap out like half of the players next year, what's the point?
Anyways, what's the point? Bada, before we let you go, your thoughts on Newcastle's managerial search, even though Steve Bruce is still in charge. Some managers have been linked, the likes of Frank Lampard, Steven Gerrard, Antonio Conte. Early this morning, Brendan Rodgers ruled himself out of that post.
Had sympathies for Steve Bruce, but the fan base does not support him. The fan base doesn't think that he has the quality. And prior to now, the only reason they stuck with him was because they couldn't afford better. Now that they can, they want him gone, and he's going to go. They're not going to wait till January. He's just going to go. The list of managers that are being linked with Newcastle doesn't really inspire me, except for Antonio Conte, Lampard and Gerrard. Can't push them into that level. We saw how Lampard was sort of out of his depths at Chelsea. If they want to push at the level of City and Manchester and Chelsea, they need to get a top manager who comes in there, sees what's on ground, uses between now and January to sort of give the players an opportunity to play for their future in the team. And then in January, he brings in the first set of top quality players to further improve the team. What we know for a fact is that if you bring in an Antonio Conte he will easily achieve what Steve Bruce would achieve with maybe the last kick of the league season, which is survival. They will stay in the top division. So, but he would have started laying the groundwork on which they build for the future. The earlier you can get a top manager in, the better either ways. He needs, time. He needs to understand the structure, the system. He needs to bond with the fans. He needs to get about his job as early as possible. So that's what's going to happen. The 8 million quid is not a lot of money for them. They're going to pay Steve Bruce and show him the door and bring in a top manager and start, plotting and planning towards the first transfer window opening up in January. And then we can see maybe 6, 7, 8 players come through the door and push them to a much higher level. And then they can consolidate in the close season when, they have about 3 months to plan and to sort of do a proper makeover. The soul of Newcastle is not going to transform instantly. Even with Man City, it didn't happen instantly. Man City had a transition period where Mark Hughes was in charge before they started bringing in all the Roberto Mancinis of this world. And so it's going to take them about a full season and a half to 2, again, because this is not France. This is England, where there's already Man City, there's Liverpool, there is Manchester United. There's other, top teams with top players that you're not going to just push aside because now you can afford everyone and anyone in world football. So the next few weeks, few months will be very interesting. But one thing that is sure, Tayo, is that Newcastle will just never be the same. Yeah,
they'll never be the same. And the fans are very excited and looking forward to this incredible new era, potentially, of course. But I want to thank you for your time. Appreciate it very much.
Thanks for having me.
All right, Newcastle, we will. What do you want to say about Newcastle in terms of the players that they're being linked with it as well? Unfortunately, January is not the best time to go for your main target. It's very difficult to get your main targets in January. But then they've been linked with players like Van der Beek, Anthony Martial, Aaron Ramsey, Longele, Lingard. I mean, they're players that can actually pick from in January. Might not be their ultimate targets, but...
Then get a coach first, just like Bada said. Get a coach, come, see what you want to do, and then get this kind of players that can help you achieve what you want to get at the end of the season or at the end of a campaign.
Which is to stay in the Premier League.
Which is to stay in the Premier League. And now that you now have more monies to play around with, you can actually get players that could win you titles. You could start with the cup games, the League Cup, the FA Cup, and all of that. But at least just get players that could deliver that on a regular. And then you can go ahead and compete with the likes of Chelsea, United, Liverpool, City, in terms of fighting for the title. So
one thing is certain, money is not going to be an issue.
It's not.
For this new...
That's why I said, even if Steve Bruce, if you pay him 8 million, he can even put add-ons. Thank you for your time,
For being loyal and all of that as well, too.
All,
And from what Bada said, Bada seems to be going towards an Antonio Conte as the new manager for Newcastle. Why not?
That name stands out for me.
Stands out.
While you were reading the names out. That
was the only name,
Lampard, Gerrard, why? Rogers had to rule himself out. The only person that could probably give you that sort of winning mentality straight up is Antonio Conte. And if it comes, some of these names you're mentioning might not fit into his plans. So why not get the manager, let him get the players that could work with him, fit into his plans, and then start to deliver the goods for you.
Interesting. Fingers crossed. We will continue to monitor the Newcastle managerial search. And as soon as a new manager